Friends, fans, and fine folk, grab your drinks and snacks and come down to the campfire for this short rest. With me and my friend, Gnome and How you doing?
I'm doing great.
You're doing
I'm
great.
Thriving.
You're thriving, even. That is what we like to hear. Not just doing okay. Not just I'm fine. I'm the best I've ever been.
I am actively living, laughing, and loving at this
Whoa,
exact
that's
moment.
the three things they say you should do. If you listen to the platitudes, that's what they say you should do. Immediately, you're getting immediate compliments on your hair, by the way.
Oh my god, thank you, Ray. I appreciate you. Yeah, I have read my platitudes and studied them well.
Wonderful. Yes. It's important to that this too shall pass, and to live, laugh, love, and to eat, pray, love, and any other three-word verbs in a row. They're all,
Yeah. No, we got it. We nailed it.
So welcome to a short rest. We are going to sit down around a campfire, so to speak, and just chill and chat. Being that it is titled Short Rest, we need to come up with what it is that we are short resting from. What sort of quest are we on that we are taking a break from?
Can it be a heist?
Absolutely can be a heist. Yes, I love that.
Can we do crimes?
We can definitely do. I'm not going to invite you on and not allow you to be gay and do crimes. That's you are allowed to do crimes. What sort of crime are we on? What sort of a heist? What are we heisting?
Okay. GM to GM.
Mm-hmm.
You know the thing that players do where they always try to take a short rest in like the middle of an incredibly tense situation?
And you're literally still on fire. You want to deal with that one first?
You are on fire, fleeing from the authorities.
You're running. Yeah, but I don't have my short wind. My second wind. You know, I need my key points back. Okay, I just want to nap. Yeah. The warlock needs his spell slots. It's even worse because one of my home games is made up. The party is made up of a fighter slash bard, so he gets back all of his fighter things and his bardic inspiration on a short rest. A warlock, so he gets all of his warlock shit back. A monk, so she gets all of her key shit back, and then a bard cleric multiclass, so he gets all of his. A monk cleric something or other. I can't even remember what he is. But they all benefit greatly from short rests, and so they're constantly just being like short rest. Short rest? Everybody short rest? Are we good? We're going to have a nap?
Yeah.
We had one encounter.
We are actively fleeing a crime scene and just having a little nap.
And we just ducked down an alleyway, grabbed a sack and just over ourselves, and they've rushed past and we're like, shh. And then I'm just getting bandages out, taking a sip from our water skin, just shh, as they're walking past. That's what we're doing. It certainly feels like that sometimes with how busy we both are. Like you're actively in the middle of We were saying just before we started, you've guested on 3 different people's channels this week, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we were both in the Winter's Tales anniversary stream that is currently still going at this time of recording.
Is that who we're fleeing?
We're fleeing Winter's Tales. We were like, get back here! We somehow fucked up her entire channel.
I've got more apocalypse for you.
We got enough donations to turn this into a 72-hour stream. We need you. No. Managed to steal some of that donation goal for ourselves, and we're just running away. All right, cool. So we've got a short rest set up. What do you
turn down our cobblestone street, make our tent, and then pry open the rations.
What are you eating and drinking on your short rest, both in real life and your go-to in game?
Well, I've got some delicious raw almonds.
I was gonna say they look like dog. I've been looking after my dog too long. They look like dog biscuits. Delicious dog kibble.
Delicious dog kibble. It do be like that sometimes. And well, this is just water, but I drink it out of a skull glass, so I think that adds a sort of mystique.
It does. It's like soul water or something. Necromancy water.
Yeah. We'll see if things get a little wild. Maybe I'll say the character is definitely just cracking open a cold one with the boys.
In an alleyway while fleeing.
An alleyway.
With the taste.
Hey, just like the warlock thing, okay, I just need a moment to recover. All right. Thank you so much.
Look. Crack out them dice then. Let's have a crack. Let's have a little tipple.
Yeah.
$10 says we're gonna get found before we get our short rest.
Yeah, short rest is for drinking, gambling, and consuming the tears of the innocent. Don't you know?
And then at the end of the short rest, you're like, no, you don't get your key slots back. Why? Because it specifically says you have to spend half of the short rest meditating, and you were gambling and drinking.
In a meditative way.
Yeah, that is how I meditate. Don't get
That's how I meditate.
Don't tell me about my religion.
I just drink and get really into my feelings while I do it. That's called meditating.
It's more spiritual than religious. It's like getting in touch with the people around you.
Yeah.
You can argue
by
it.
Taking their money. It's like an exchange of energy and currency.
So what is your go-to food and drink when you have downtime in a game? Does it change depending on character usually?
So one of my I do not get to play a player, and I don't get to be a player very often. But one of the best ones was based off a Luna Moth. It was a Luna Moth fairy, Hemlock. And she was a Circle Spores druid. And so I was like, do you eat mushrooms? And I'm like, I need you to know that Luna Moths don't have mouths. So Luna Moths, as soon as they turn from like
tongue thing?
No, they just don't eat. They just don't eat.
Oh, they're one of the ones that just like they just die when they die quickly enough that they just don't need a digestive system.
Yeah, so
it's fucking insane that of all the creatures on Earth, there's just the huge, unbelievable diversity of evolution has just created some things that are just like, we don't need a digestive system. They're not going to be around long enough.
I'm just gonna die instead. So I was like, yeah, she's like quite a light eater, so I think just like a nice little good berry, just like a little single,
just single one. Oh, that's enough for me, thanks. Basically like grandmas when you go around for dinner or something, they've got like a tiny little child portion and they just like have half of it and they're like, that's enough for me.
Although like good berry, so I really love like a berry wine, so I do think like good berry wine became like a thing.
Yeah, for sure, like healing, like kind of like a healing potion, getting drunk but healing at the same time.
Living, laughing, and loving.
I should have known that your fairy was all about mushrooms, given your obsessive nature about mushrooms. Maybe we should spend most of this 2 hours just talking about mushrooms.
I would love that.
I'm sure you would. We should. I always get way too far into these short rests with it before I get to this point. For people who are just watching my streams because they know me and they don't have a first idea who you are, why don't we do a little introduction? Who are you, Gnome?
Hi, I'm Gnome Ann here on Twitch, or Ann the Gnome on a lot of short form platforms. I am a TTRPG content creator. I run actual plays here on Twitch and create related content elsewhere. And I'm also writing, I'm actually writing a D&D supplement about mushrooms right now.
I would have bet money on it, and I wouldn't have won all that much money back. the odds were pretty high. The bookies were giving very low odds on that.
Literally, though, the way I got that job was when we were at Gen Con.
Yeah.
I ran up to someone who was wearing mushroom overalls and was like, "Oh my God, I was a couple drinks in, okay?" And I was like, "Want me to tell you about the specific mushrooms that are on your overalls?" And she was like, "I don't know."
I was really expecting that to go into she was the producer of something, and she's like, "Absolutely, yeah, let's talk about it." She wasn't interested.
She was not. I don't know.
Oh my God! This woman has chosen to deck herself in mushrooms in like this very public environment. She must love mushrooms as much as me. Let's get into it about mushrooms, and then immediately shut down. Bulldozed! No, yes, and for you.
As much as I love that mushrooms have become like a very aesthetic thing in like cottagecore and stuff, it used to be a really easy way to identify fellow mushroom lovers, and as much as it makes me easier to buy mushroom stuff, it also makes it harder to find them. Anyway, but at the same time, my business cards also have mushroom facts on them. So I was talking about that, and then the publisher was right there and was like, "Hey, like, do you like mushrooms?" And then I was like, "Yes, hi." And they were like, "Well, we're actually working on a thing." And I was like, "Amazing." And I was like, "Hi, sit down. Let me pitch you." And normally I'm like never pitch at a con, but this time, do you have my business card right there? I just saw my little face.
I was wanting to show people that you weren't lying. I got a lot of business cards from people at the con just for fun and flavour, and to go through afterwards and be like, let's follow everybody on their socials and stuff, just to remember who the hell I'd met. And on the back of Gnomes, when I turned it over to look for like information, just like it taking up prime real estate on one entire side of the business card, where you've got the name and a QR code on one side, and on the other side is important information. Love the pun.
Information.
Mushrooms near Chernobyl have been observed growing towards radioactive graphite. We suspect that these radiotrophic fungi use radiation like plants use light. Now
isn't that cool?
That is a fantastic fact about mushrooms.
Isn't that a fungi fact?
Oh Jesus! That's all the time we have, everybody. Thanks for joining. Yes, that is incredible. A fungi fact. That. So where did this fascination of mushrooms begin? You've always had a thing for them, even since a kid. No.
Not at all. I didn't actually know much about mushrooms. I associated them with drugs and cooking. Two things.
I think that's the majority of the population would be. Yeah. On a Family Feud, our survey says top answer: drugs or cooking.
And I was like, well, I'm too unstable mentally to use drugs, and I'm too bad of a person to cook, so I don't really know what these have for me. And it wasn't until I started, because I have an interest in, like, I've always had an interest in, like, plants and nature. I live in the woods. And it wasn't until I started, like, learning about, like, ecology and botany and stuff that I was like, hold on, what the fuck is going on with fungi? And the deeper you go, it's like, it's a pit that never ends.
The day that you learn that fungi are closer to the animal kingdom than the plant kingdom, and that is like, but what? But why? And then then you get it, and then it screws you up for things like D&D when like the myconids are considered like plant monsters, and you're like, they're not plants though. No, they're mushroom people.
With my mushroom supplement right now, it's funny, I'm on this, like, I'm like working with the publisher, and they're so supportive of me. I'm like, I don't want any poison spores. Because spores are very rarely poisonous. And in D&D, you see a lot of parasitic mushrooms who are actually quite rare in nature, but you don't see any symbiotes. There are no symbiotes. And there's like, and I was like, where are the symbiotes? Hey, and I'm like, okay, so I'm writing a D&D supplement, but really it's just a love letter to mushrooms because of how poorly represented.
I am so excited to hear about this supplement, by the way, because I have, in my own world, I have like this whole origin story of all the different creatures and stuff, and I've gone down the kind of zoological path of, hey, the plant creatures were created, the fish, prokaryote creatures were created first, and they evolved into this and this and this, and like I've got like a whole avenue of like mushroom people, and I'm like I've got to like stat out some mushroom races and things that are different to the plant races, and you're fucking writing something. As soon as it comes out, I'll be like, I'll take some of that, put it in this, and then it's less work for me to do.
I mean, minor spoiler alert, but one of the things I'm creating is fungal dryads, which are actually, so they're not like trees that are animated in the way like dryads are, like they can turn into trees. They're actually mycelium networks, so they're like a root network, and they just pull in the vegetation that surrounds them to form up their bulk, but their sentience is in their mycelium.
Nice.
So it's like they're these kind of like almost like a humanoid shambling mound kind of, but like hold together by this like white network of roots.
Excellent. That's pretty much exactly what I had in mind for one of my mushroom races as well. I'd not actually put it into stats yet, but I was like, there's a few like myconid colonies around my world that people have interacted with in minor levels, and like I'm kind of yearning for one of my parties to like really delve into it and get into things to give me some kind of impetus to actually sit down and make something. But nobody really
literally
has yet.
And I think this is like a thing with D&D in general, but also like it's like one, D&D, normally if you see a monster you're supposed to kill it, and two, most people are kind of scared of mushrooms. So me trying to write an adventure, I'm like, hey, maybe don't auto kill and I'm like, this one's just a little guy. This one's like, he's
a little
so cute.
cutie. And they're like, but he's a challenge rating what challenge? How many XP do I get for killing him? I'm like, oh, but he's just
no, he's just a little guy.
You'll be, I think you'll be pleased to hear that in one of the major arcs of my Twitch Tales game, I run a game called Twitch Tales, which is an interactive D&D game. I'm the Dungeon Master, and the Twitch chat is Hivemind controlling the actions and the main character. the main character ended up going to the Feywild, and because they went to the Feywild and came back again, and they weren't elven, they didn't have the elven ancestry, they had that Feywild fuckery thing happen where you can't remember your time there. So because it's a solo campaign, I got to use this really gimmicky kind of bullshit trick where they stepped into the Feywild. I rolled them the wisdom save right when they stepped in rather than when they stepped out. They failed it, so I just had them step back out of the Feywild again, like changed in costume and stuff. And I was like, right, you don't remember your time in the Feywild. At some later date when you can work on your memory, when you can find some way to unlock the memories, we'll pause where we are. We'll go back in time and we'll actually play out what happened when you were in the Feywild. But for now, you just don't remember your time there. And a lot of people in the chat were very angry or very on board with it, very frustrated with my trolling. But eventually, all of that to say, they eventually went to a Myconid colony, and because the Myconids are all like hive mind connected through the root network and stuff, the Myconids were like, hey, we can tap into each other's brains using like this mind meld thing that we can do. If we mind meld with you, we might be able to unlock some of these memories.
Oh,
in order to do,
they have the rapport
spores. Yeah. And so they were like, in order to do so, you kind of need to be one of us, though, so that we can properly mind meld and unlock your stuff. So go and get us this brown fungus that grows only in this part of the cave, blah, blah, blah. Sent them on a bit of a fetch quest. They came back with this brown fungus. They inhaled it and went through sort of a ritual. And the upside is, yes, they were able to unlock their memory, so we paused at that point, went back and did the Feywild arc of the campaign. But the downside was when they came back, they realised they were now part mushroom. So the main character of my Twitch Tales campaign is slowly turning into a mushroom, and they have all these like mushroom abilities and features and stuff. Like they get sun sickness if they stay out in the sun too long, and they feel really anxious if they disconnected from the ground for too long and stuff like this. It's very fun.
On a related note, so the campaign I did play in for a while was actually an Out of the Abyss. So minor spoilers for Out of the Abyss. I'll keep it short. But there you go to the Myconid colony, and there is a mushroom demon lord, Zuckmoy, who's there, and she's like, I'm gonna make the whole world mushrooms. And I went to my DM, and I was like, hey, Scarlet. It was Scarlet64. I was like, nice. I need you to give me a really compelling case for why I'm not going with this plan. It sounds great.
When you're in a game and you're like, my character's definitely on board with the bad guy's plan, I'm sorry.
I am definitely on board. Like, I'm 110%. Like, oh, slay queen, get him. Like,
let's do it. I'm on board.
And she's like, oh, but like Zuckmoy's evil. I'm like, well, okay, what evil? What did she do that was evil? It's like, well, she wants to make everything mushrooms. I'm like, sounds great. I can't think of a better outcome for me personally or my character than to be mushrooms. It's the most comforting thing about whenever I accidentally remember that I'm mortal, I just comfort myself by letting myself know that one day I'll be a mushroom, and I'm like, that makes it better.
You're like, hey, everything returns to the decomposers at some point.
Yeah, exactly.
Have you got it in your will and testament, I guess, that your final requests for your body is like, because people, you can suggest like what you should be doing, funeral rites and stuff. You want one of those. Are they just called fungal coffins or something? I can't remember. There's ones that they have spores in the suit that you bury the person in, and it helps them decompose quicker and turn into mushrooms or something. Do you know what I'm talking about? I've heard.
I know exactly. Obviously.
Yeah, of course.
So those aren't in mass production right now. It's not a thing that's like readily available.
Right. It's still working on it.
That said, fungi are incredibly good at decomposing. They will find you. You don't need to seek them out. They will find you. All you have to do is not be in a a sealed casket.
Right.
So, but even getting a green burial, like if I'm just like, throw me in a pine box.
Yeah.
Bury me 6 feet under, they'll find me.
Yeah.
I don't need to go look. They'll find me. They know. They'll like sense my good vibes.
They'll be like, hey, this is one of us. She's already mostly us.
I
basically in my sort of last rites request sort of thing, I'm like, hey, I'm gone at that point. I don't give a shit. Like, it's a vessel. Like, if you can donate any of this to anyone who can use it, then do that first. Like, if somebody can benefit from my corneas or my heart or my lungs or whatever, I've never drunk in my life, so you can have my liver. It's been perfect quality. Like, take whatever you need, and then whatever's left, do with it what you need. To give it to science or something. For all I give a shit.
Okay, I'm not gonna get too into death stuff because I don't want to freak people out. But Cake Ladder in chat said, "Is embalming hindering the process?" Yes, embalming does hinder the decomposition process. Also, pretty much everything we do in our cult, like in like a sort of like English derivative, like death culture, inhibits the decomposition process.
Yeah.
So that's why we have but also cremation. I don't have an opinion on it, but if you are cremated, then you don't nourish the soil. You become very neutral because it
really?
Ash doesn't like the ash
I
is
thought ash was really good for gardens and stuff. Ash is really good.
I think some
for the
ash
soil.
is. I think like the carbon of like plant matter ash
Right.
is.
Yeah, like right. But it depends what you've burnt for the ash.
Yeah, but like scattering human ashes does not have the same effect.
Right.
And I know a lot of people like are like, oh, cremated and buried at the base of a tree.
Mm.
The tree will grow around. The ashes will be integrated into the soil, but like the ashes aren't helping. I'm just saying.
just bury you without a coffin beneath the base of the tree.
Ash is good for stuff. Human ash not great for feeding tree.
Right.
But good for being spooky and being a plot element in a very dramatic story.
Yeah. Take the ash, which is
No hate,
basically
but carbon is carbon.
Yeah.
Fair.
Take the ash, which is just carbon at that point, and you crush it down and make a little diamond out of you, and then put that in a ring. I've heard of people doing that.
There
before
you
as well.
go.
This was an interestingly morbid way to begin, but I'm not surprised
I love that.
we went that way. I love it as well. I've never been shy of talking about morbid topics because, hey, we're all mortal. We'll all return one day, and it's important. If you don't talk about this stuff, people won't know. When you die, especially if you just die like out of the blue in an accident or something, people will be like, oh shit, what did he want to happen with him for his funeral? Like, talk about it, and then people will know. Oh, he didn't give a shit. Do whatever. He didn't give a shit. Donate his bits, and then donate him to science. And if science doesn't want him, throw him to the lions or something.
If science is like, oh, this one, I don't know about this one. Oh,
they're like, oh, this guy's no. We need more typical specimens.
Yeah.
Yeah, sky burials. I've heard of as well. AJ's talking about them as well. Like, just throw them out in the open and let the vultures have them. I've always
usually it can be other carrion as well.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have vultures, but there are plenty of carrion that will eat your corpse.
Yeah.
But also, humans really dislike it when you leave cadavers around.
I know, right?
So I'll just let you know that considering the human animals in the area, please don't leave dead bodies around.
Just chuck me in a body farm, and then let science learn something about how long it takes
That is
for
very
maggots
cool.
to eat my eyeballs.
Well, okay, all right. I was gonna be like, I'm not gonna get into human composting on Robert Hartland GM stream, but here we are. Here we fucking are.
We haven't even started. I usually like to start by talking about the name, like where did the name No Man come from? But we'll get back to that at some point after the human composition.
We'll loop back to that.
Man, I'm so glad I met you. You're such a vibrant person to have in my life, and I love it. Talking about human composting, yes.
So at body farms, they're experimenting with human composting, which is different ways to accelerate the decomposition of human bodies, which is important because we've got so many humans now, and cremation does help with the volume issue a lot, but cremation is a very energy heavy process.
Yes.
So we don't know if that's the only solution we want. So human composting is what we're looking at, and part of that is introducing fungi to like a pile of dead vegetation around a human, and it gets weirdly hot.
Yeah,
because you know how compost gets
really,
hot. Like
hot.
human composting gets so hot. It's so cool. Right now human composting isn't a widely available option, but I just hope that by the time I kick it, I just want to survive long enough to be human composted. Like that's all I want.
You want to fertilize a garden, then be turned back into the energy of some vegetables or something. Yeah. Better for the
soil than ash, yes.
So let's start this short rest by talking about. We could just put like a big redacted warning or something over this whole thing and be like, hey.
Redacted for weird ass shit. Okay, anyway, the show starts now.
Let's talk about the name Gnome. Where did that come from?
Well, you may have noticed that when you say no man, it
sounds like no man.
No man. N-O-M-A-N. No man. No man's land. or I am no man and things like that. So literally,
No Man Left Behind, all that.
no man, exactly. The pun ability is infinite, and I love a pun. And I wish I had a better, like, literally, it was just that my friend had started a Twitch channel, and I didn't know what Twitch was, and I wanted to support her, so I like made my own account. And in that moment, at that day, where I was like, well, I like D&D and stuff, and like gnomes, and and then like put it together. It sounds like a pun, and that was it. There was no additional
That was
thought.
it.
I did
Like, bing,
because
found it.
at the at the time, if in hindsight 2020, knowing I was going to become a content creator, I would have picked something that was available across platforms. But I didn't. I didn't know. I didn't know, man. So
There's another one. It's so good.
So I love No Man in the Big I Do Crime Bunch. Ah, thank you, Clown.
So, just a circus clown. How's it going? I had the similar thoughts when I was starting out, and I was like, what's the names I could use for my business for like doing D&D stuff? What's a cool pun? What's a cool play on words? And I was looking through them all, and I was like, even back then, like years ago, it was like everything has taken everything with the word critical in it, everything with the word dice in it, everything with the word roll or role play. It's like it's all gone. Somebody's got them all, and I was like, also. The cross-platform thing, I really wanted to make sure that it was just kind of unique to me, and I could just grab it on all of the handles. So I was like, I'll just use my name. I'll just put my name, and then originally I was Robert Hartley DM, and then very quickly I was like, oh wait, actually, let's future-proof it. Let's make that a GM for branching out into games in general and not D&D.
Well, and that's the thing is now, I mean, I picked No Man partially because of and at the time I didn't even know that D&D was a thing that happened on Twitch. I just like D&D, so I was like, oh, okay, because I'm a fucking nerd.
Nerd.
But now also I play in a lot of systems that don't have gnomes in them. Like the most recent actual play took place in the 1980s in Wisconsin, so there were no gnomes there, tragically.
Couldn't even inject a garden gnome into it in a scene or so.
You know what? Maybe we'll add one. Maybe I'm always there.
Just
like,
always just in the background of a scene.
True.
So when what did you liked D&D before the name? You got the name for making the Twitch things. So we go back even further. What got you into D&D in the first place? And was D&D the first TTRPG you got into?
I didn't even know there were other TTRPGs forever. My dad was a DM like in the 80s.
Oh, right.
And so when I was like a little kid, my dad would tell me bedtime stories, and he gave me a player character.
Oh, nice.
So we would have stories that I like, he would like tell me what's happening in the world. He's like, what do you do? And I would like play. And then as I got older, I played the original Baldur's Gate games.
Yeah.
And they formed my entire personality. In the biggest baby DM energy, I would make multiplayer parties with myself, so I could play every character in the party, and I'd write their backstories and make their little portraits and their little adventures. Do I remember the plot of Baldur's Gate? No. Do I remember the fictional characters I like devoted my entire adolescence to? Yes.
Good.
And then and we played like Magic the Gathering. I got like really in like as a kid like into Magic. And then it wasn't until like basically I was like I knew of D&D from my dad, but even then it was like D&D was like a kind of a boy thing. Right. And so
I'm so glad that's not the case anymore.
I'm so glad we fixed that.
So I'm glad we fixed all of that.
You know what? I maintain that the queers have stolen D&D.
It's pretty fucking queer. I gotta say, like I often joke as like a because my go-to humor is to be like to pretend like I'm unaware of my own privilege and my own like stuff, and to also like my go-to humor is usually like one of self-aggrandizing and pretending like I'm not very humble.
I don't love that.
And as many times as I've like joked about like, oh, I'm a straight white cis man, I'm the minority. When I look around the D&D sphere specifically that I have surrounded myself with, I'm like, it's actually not too far from the truth. There's a lot of white guys, but there's a lot of them that are in the queer space, or they're trans, or there's people in neurodivergent. There's so much divergence in the sphere that I have surrounded myself with in my D&D content creations. I'm like,
well.
Is it that? Because you get like horror stories on Reddit and stuff about like, oh, it's still a boys' game and it's still this and that, and I'm like, not in my world, not in my experiences.
I have a hypothesis about this, which will be ready for some hot takes, chat. Get ready. But that there are essentially two versions of D&D. There's straight D&D and queer D&D. And queer D&D, straight people play queer D&D. It's not actually based off your sexual orientation. It's just like there are different. It's like who dominates the spaces. Because the first time I tried to play D&D was literally like, because I was like, I was this little nerd. I was like a magic nerd and Baldur's Gate nerd, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go try and play a Dungeons and Dragons. I'm so excited, and I like learned all about the game. And then I like went to a local game shop and was like, can I join a game? I'll give you like 3 guesses how it went. I was young and naive, and it went poorly. And I was I guess it's...
Yeah, did it include some characters doing things to your characters without your character's consent? Because that's often...
it came to me I never even got a yes and off my character concept.
Oh, right.
Like, it was like, they're like, okay, so your character's like stupid and dumb and incompetent. I was like, oh, wait, what? I was like,
Not and what like a thing I wanted.
And they were all at like a higher level, like, but your character has to start at level 1. And I was like, but aren't we just starting a game for the first time? Like, why does my character feel lower level? They're like, we're also.
You went joining. Wait, you went joining an established.
No, it was a 1. It was like a 1, like a welcome start chat. Like, okay, all right, guess not for me. And it was like
girls aren't as competent, so you have to start at level 1.
I don't want to scare anyone off going onto their local game shop and trying, because this was a bad vibe, and I have since gone to other local game shops for similar events.
I'm trying to act devil's advocate in my head. Were they all experienced with D&D? And
I think so, yeah.
Maybe it might have been like starting at level 3 might confuse you because you've got too many features and traits and things on your character sheet. So start lower and understand the game first. Maybe.
Possibly? Well, and I do. It was. I mean, I think I also brought a very weird energy. So I was so excited. Me bringing a weird energy to the room? What?
I can't
I'm like,
see
guys, you heard about human composting? But like, I mean, I have literally no idea. Yeah. All I know is that I just wanted to hang, and I was like, couldn't even get my character, and then it was just like very like shut out. And yeah, I think everyone else was more experienced, but I was like.
And this was your first experience with like trying to play Dungeons and Dragons outside of your dad's bedtime stories.
Yep, that was
Great first experience.
Well, but luckily it's funny because I had a friend, a female lesbian DM, who I heard she was playing D&D. I was like, wait, you play Dungeons and Dragons? They let us play. Wait, you're the DM? Holy shit! And then I was like, can I join? And then she gave me like homework, which was to listen to like a few episodes of the Adventure Zone.
Oh yeah.
To get she was like for the vibe of the campaign that we're going for.
Season 1.
And yeah, like balance
Nice.
arc. And I just like chewed through the whole thing, and then unfortunately. And then I like joined the campaign, and then it fell apart the way campaigns did after a few months. Mm-hmm. But after finishing the Adventure Zone, I was like, I could do that.
Mm-hmm.
I could, because if there's one thing about me, it's I've got that neurodivergent queer audacity. I've got the audacity of like I see something and I'm like I could probably build a house. How hard could it be? I could probably do that. I have like reverse imposter syndrome where I just see anyone do anything.
You're like, yeah, I got that. I could do that.
I got that. And then also because like I'd only ever known like D&D through like Magic the Gathering and Baldur's Gate before that, I didn't know, like I listened to like the Adventure Zone and I was like, wait, we can do dildo jokes in D&D? That's allowed? Wait, hold on. This changes everything. This game's awesome. And I was like, but I think before that I didn't really understand that the game could be whatever the table decides it is.
Yes. Yeah.
So that was really like it kind of like opened my mind in that sense.
Right.
And then it kind of all started, and then I started running games for literally anyone who'd be willing. My first campaign I ever ran was run entirely out of a bar in town that would just let us play because they were also D&D nerds. So we showed up with dice one day and we're like, and they were like, yeah, fine.
Fair enough.
None of our apartments were big enough to like host
Yeah.
a game. Because we are broke and I'll have 500 roommates.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. And then from there, the only reason I started streaming was because my friend who I had made my account for was a streamer and she played so much World of Warcraft. And I was like, play Dungeons and Dragons. And she was like, no, I'm busy. I'm a streamer. And I was like, okay, but play D&D with me. It's so much better than WoW, trust me. And she's like, fine, I'll play if you stream it. If we play on stream,
because everything is content.
Everything is, and now at the time I was like weird, but now I get it. I'm like, oh yeah, because when you're content creator, you don't have any fucking time. Oh my god.
I was literally talking to my business partner Fancy the other day about the upcoming Kickstarter that I'm having in 2024 at some point, and we're talking about like what are we doing for like fulfillment and things, because if I'm doing it myself it saves money, but it's like it's a hell of a process to be like, you know, putting things in envelopes and sending them off. I was like, if it comes to it, I'll fucking stream it because everything is content and people will watch me. I can sit and do a just chatting stream while I'm doing fulfillment for my Kickstarter if I have to, if it saves us the money and whatever. Everything. I really am on board with that. Everything's content if it makes it work.
Everything is content. And especially for being like a brand new D&D show on Twitch, like it is really hard to gain an audience if you don't have. And our little show did really well. And it was called Questing Queers, and it was all people who hadn't played D&D before, so I was teaching them all, and they came in so hot. What's the rating on this show? What can I say?
Whatever the fuck you want. Let's try and steer away from C-bombs.
Okay, we'll stay away from C-bombs. Adjacent is the when we were doing character creation.
Stay away from the C word. Just like, oh well, I'll ignore this story then. I'll try and think of a different one. As I can't tell this story without it.
Well, no, because when we were doing character creation, Momo Okimoto was one of the players, and she is a content creator. And she was like, "Okay, I want to play a Medusa," and I'm like, "Okay, I can make that happen." She's like, "Yeah," and all my inventory is stored in my puss. And I was like, "What?
You're
what?"
Like,
and she's like, "That's where I store it all."
To that?
And she's like, and so we wrote a Puss of Holding.
Puss of Holding
was like my first homebrew. Was a Puss of Holding, and I was like, "Hey, D&D's fucking," and I was just like waiting for my friend to get mad. Didn't. And I was like, okay, I guess it's a sign.
You start testing waters. No police comes for you. You're like,
all right, okay? We're good.
Are we still okay?
Yeah, I'm like, how weird can we make it?
How did the WoW friend take to the game?
Really well. She was.
Did they then go, "Oh, you were right. I do prefer this."
Yep, literally. And she was one of the players in my ongoing long-term campaign of Be Gay, Do Crime. Nice. So that's Ellie, who plays Arcadia on Be Gay, Do Crime. And yeah, is like obsessed and is always wanting to play more D&D now. Gave up WoW.
Ooh, that's pretty big. You're fucking homewrecker.
I know.
She had a perfect relationship with WoW. She was perfectly happy in it. Then you came along.
I know. She'd been playing since vanilla.
Oh, jeez.
Like, I came and roosted.
I was gonna say probably came in and saved us some money from all of the buying the new WoW stuff, but I was like, you ain't saving money if you're suddenly getting into D&D in as big a way.
That's true.
If she's got that obsessive personality and she's like, we're into dice now.
She's already making her own dice.
Of course.
There's no. Yeah.
So your first one was called what? Something with queer in the title?
Questing Queers was the first.
And the audience for it was like, did anybody watch? What we talking, like you and your friends, or were there actually people tuning in?
No, we had like, for a brand new show, we had like pretty consistent, like 20, 30 concurrent viewers.
Not bad. Holy shit.
And I think part of it is that it was like an all-fem group. And so people would come in often. I feel like, I think part of it was people would come in to gatekeep and then hear how wildly inappropriate the humor was. Like, it was such raunchy humor on that show that people just did like a triple take and they were like, you know what? This actually kind of fucks. Like,
yeah. They'd be like, they'd see the title. They'd be like, queers playing D&D, and then they click on it and they'd be like, and they're all women too. What the? And then they'd be like, oh, but it's actually they're talking like dudes. Oh, women can talk like dudes. What?
Well, and it was one of the turning moments was when I actually DM'd for Amaranth, on her channel, where the first time she played D&D, and it was like that's like where a lot of my followers came from initially.
Right.
Obviously very different content, but they were like, hey, do you want to hear us make like, I think sometimes, and this is for any this is specifically to any of the boys in chat, sometimes boys don't know how vulgar femfolk can be when they're not around. Like they just like don't. They're like, what the fuck is this? The kind of like locker room talk. I was like, no, we can make just as vulgar humor. Yeah. So and that's kind of where I think people were like constantly surprised, and then I think now my audience is much.
Sorry, no, you go on. I was cutting you off.
No, I was saying I think now my audience is largely just like feral neurodivergent queers, but
right.
it was a shift over time. Yeah.
What was the sort of duration of the first one, the Quest and Queers? How long did it run?
That one ran like a year and a half.
Right. And did it come to like a natural conclusion, or did lives go different ways and it fell apart?
No, it kind of both, where it was more like people were like, it was all the players started making partner on Twitch, and so they were like, we gotta do like,
I gotta do some shit. I gotta focus on my streaming.
Yeah, so they were all going full time, and so we had to like we had like notice. We had like, you know, we'll do 2 more months, and so we had plenty of time to like wrap up the story. Yeah. That was one of my favorite stories too, because the way I'd done it was they knew that their like kind of big bad was a necromancer, and they were also being like chaotic murder hobos the whole time. But I secretly took notes of every person they killed.
Yes, I love this. Yeah.
So in the final battle, they had to fight the ghosts of every single person they'd killed during the whole year-long campaign. It was great.
I will neither confirm nor deny that I'm doing the same in the current Viva la Dirt League campaign. Just because that hasn't. If I was to be doing that, it's definitely not come to fruition yet. So that's all I'll say about that.
Definitely not. Definitely wouldn't do that.
Was it like a level 1 to 20 thing, or what?
I think they ended at like level like 14. They started at 1 and got to like 14, 15. Nice. We never got. I was hoping to get to 20.
Something they can watch. People can find it on YouTube or something.
That first campaign, we did not know it was going to be good. So we just kind of got. Be Gay Do Crime, which is like the spiritual successor, it does have its own YouTube channel. It's also probably better because I knew what I was doing.
That's fair. That's fair.
I remember Quest and Queers being really good.
Exactly right. Exactly. You go back and suddenly it's like, oh boy, oh no. I had a podcast years ago that was about anime, because it was sort of an introduction to me. I hadn't watched a single bit of anime, but a good friend of mine was a super weeb, and so we started a podcast together where he was introducing me to it, and I was like, that was a lot of fun. And then I started going back and listening to it, and I was like, we say the art slur a couple of times in it, and I was like, oh shit, I would never say that these days. That's not something that's okay to say, but this was only a few years ago, and I was like, didn't realize that was a thing. And so I was listening back, and I was like, oh man, this isn't as good as I thought it was. The content was still pretty good, but oh man, we're different people now.
You're like, the cringe shit you say before you learn, especially when you're not like from the internet and you're not like, you're in your insular world. And then also like, I think the way you DM for a home game is very different than the way you should DM for a show. For sure. And I didn't know that at the time. I was just like literally wanting to play D&D with my friends. So I was like, you know, kind of like, the pacing wasn't always there and stuff, because it's just like, I don't know.
It's probably for the best. Like you take that first thing, you learn what you're doing, you get rid of it, and you like tell people about it. This was a good thing that, you know, got me into this thing. It was actually amazing, but you'll never know. It was actually an incredible work of art, and you can't disprove it. Nick Minute Twitch like releases like old VODs or something, gives people ways to download old VODs. Nothing's ever deleted on the internet, right? So what?
I've never DM'd a level 20 game.
So you moved on after the Quest and Queers. You moved on to the Be Gay Do Crime immediately.
Yeah, I not immediately, no. I ran a bunch of like short stuff and mini things for a while. I tried other systems.
Oh yeah.
And this whole shelf behind me is different systems.
You got a hell of a
and
background, by the
TTRPG.
way.
Oh my god, thank you so much. Did you see Frogula there?
Yeah, if you want to show him off on stream. I saw him on AJ's Winter's Tales thing the other day, but I don't think we've gotten a good look at him on this one. Sorry for those listening on podcasts later. You want to go and watch the VOD on my YouTube or something to see Frogula. Frogula, I'll try and do my best to describe Frogula. Frogula is what, like 3 feet diameter? Like 3 or 4 feet?
32-inch diameter sphere of a frog.
Yeah, gigantic, plushy, green, bright, vibrant green frog that takes up the entire camera. Is large enough for Gnome to completely hide herself behind.
Yes.
Yeah.
We love Frogula.
Frogula's great. Yeah, this background you got is incredible. All the lighting and stuff, I really love it. And all the stuff on the shelves. But I interrupted. You were talking about the different systems that you've got on your shelves?
Oh, no, I'm just saying, I started like, because like after running D&D, people were like, did you know there are other games? I was like, what? And then I think like one and then also part of it was like, again, I was introduced to the Adventure Zone, and then they ran the Amnesty arc, which was Monster of the Week, and I was like, what the fuck is this? I love this.
Right, yeah.
And then I discovered Powered by the Apocalypse, and now I'm Powered by the Apocalypse like stan.
Oh yeah. All about it.
Thirsty Sword Lesbians is probably my favorite system.
Did you happen to catch any of our Thirsty Sword Lesbians that Pixies and Pins ran on Winter's Tales channel? No. Sounds by that face you didn't even know we did it. You should go watch it. It's Winter's Tales. It's on Winter's Tales channel, and I think you can still find it on the YouTube. But Pixies and Pins, Sarah Moore, she ran it for us. It was me and AJ and Zach Speaks Giant and the Playmat as the characters in it.
Oh my god!
And oh boy, did it get dramatic! Like there was Sarah was pulling no punches in like really like twisting the knife with characters and character connections and stuff. It was amazing.
Well, and
it was a three-part series.
I think I always joke like any game I play, any game I run is secretly Thirsty Sword Lesbians. I actually once had the playmat in a one shot of D&D I was running, and at one point I literally said, "Okay, we're not playing D&D anymore. Now we're playing some Thirsty Sword Lesbians." And I switched rules
in the middle of the game.
In the middle of combat, because I was like,
brilliant.
"Listen," because like Matt kept being like, "Okay, but like I attack, but like in a hot way," and I was like, "All right, okay, hold on,
I got a system for this."
I was like, roll to entice, like
systems that literally have like mechanics for like kissing in the rain and stuff. Finally kissing in a dangerous situation and stuff like that.
Kissing in a dangerous situation. I just like in D&D I'll be like inspiration.
Yeah.
I mean, you might get, bonked on the head. I like to say everything I run is secretly a telenovela. Like, can I talk a bit about a recent project?
Absolutely. Talk about whatever you want. It's your time to shine, Gnome.
So, I recently ran a Kids on Bikes actual play. It was only 3 episodes, and it is probably the best thing I've ever made.
Oh, okay.
And it's on YouTube. It's called Zapotha, and it was my first time running Kids on Bikes. It's my first time running in a horror actual play. As you can tell, I lean towards the whimsical and absurd, and so but I love horror, but I just like didn't know how to run it. Like it's really hard to run a horror game, right? Like to build suspense and you
have to have buy-in from the players. Like if you're gonna run like I run for the Viva La Dirty guys, and they're a comedy group, so I ran a horror game for their Halloween. But like I was bringing the horror, they were bringing the comedy, so it never really got like actually horror. If you want a horror to feel like a horror, you've got to have the buy-in from the players to also bring the horror.
Totally, because I think in comedy, if you don't have 100% buy-in, there's actually comedic effect in the confusion of like, what? Like that is like people who aren't yes-anding and instead are just being like, what the fuck? That is also funny, versus in horror, you need to commit to the bit and you need to be on board. And we just had that. We got that secret sauce.
Nice. And it was a kids on bikes system, you say?
It was Kids on Bikes, so it's an 80s teen slasher that takes place in the Midwest in the 80s, and it's based off a fictional horror film that originated, like a meme kind of on TikTok of like a fictional film. And so we were joking that we were making the film. This is an old VHS that you found in a cupboard, and you're playing it, and this is the movie. Okay.
There's quite a few layers of meta there.
Oh, I know, because there's one. I am an art hoe in my heart, deep down inside. But I just wanted the thing was interesting that I did with this, and I was thinking about what you were saying about like the Feywild and chat not knowing, like the player not knowing what happened because you literally did a jump cut. Is that's what we did. So we had it where every time. So we had lots of like splitting the party because Kids on Bikes does that a lot more. And every time you weren't in a scene, you took off your headphones.
Oh, okay.
So up until the end, nobody knew who was doing the killing. People didn't know who was still alive. And when you're watching it, the audience has more information than the players.
Yeah, you get the dramatic irony.
Which, thank you. I keep telling this people, I'm like, it's dramatic irony in AP, which is so hard to do, right?
Yeah.
But playing with like how much information the players versus the characters versus the audience has is like really exciting to me. So kind of getting to do that.
Yeah, that's good stuff. I listen to a podcast that does the same, where they're like, I think it's an Australian one. What are they called? Somebody introduced me to it recently. It's something called like 4 Women Try D&D for the first time. It's like a really long, stupid name for a podcast, but it's very funny. It's a guy. It's a guy running it for them, for 3 friends, and I think while they're producing it, while he edits it later, he puts in like narrative elements and the scenes of like the camera cuts to the villain doing his monologue in the blah 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 and stuff that the players don't know, and he adds that in afterwards so that the players don't know about it. So yeah, I like it. I like it when people can find ways to do that in this medium of telling stories that we've found, this TTRPG medium, of like still finding ways to do it. Because you can give, if you trust your players not to metagame, you can give them information. You can have those cutaways of like at the table you can explain like, oh, and then the villains are doing this and this and this. But even the people who are the best at not metagaming, it's real hard to just turn that part of your brain off and go, don't act on that information. You don't know it.
Well, and I also think for me as a player, that also takes some of the fun away. Like having to pretend my character less. I want to be able to embody my character. I want my character to have all the knowledge I have, theoretically. Like it's funny because something comes up a lot in games, where they're like, well, I have this knowledge about folklore or whatever. But does my character? And often in like D&D, like literally, I'm like, well, you've read the monster manual. Your character hasn't settled down. But in other systems, sometimes if it takes place in our world, you can do that, right?
I quite often will play high intelligence characters just so I can get around the whole. I know what this fucking monster is. Can I roll a nature check to see if my character knows what this monster is, so that I can stop torturing myself about whether I'm acting out of character or not?
So Matt in chat asked, why was it 80s Wisconsin? It's because in part so the way Kids on Bikes works is you world build with the players. So the players, we had very little in the story. I had like a bunch of stuff ready based off the lore that was pre-built. But the actual setting was entirely built by the players. The town is built by the players. And one of the players is Maisie Linney, who is Wiscussie from TikTok, very well known for being from Wisconsin. And when she suggested Wisconsin as a horror setting, I'm like, I can't think of anything scary about the Midwest. It sounds incredibly boring and the opposite of scary. And then she made such a compelling case. And she was like, we have literally more serial killers than anybody. And then she described it. And then also because it was a story a lot about liminal spaces, I thought having the flyover states was a perfect setting. And then also because it was a story about disorientation. And as someone who is from the mountains, being in flat places unsettles me at an existential level.
Yeah. Like I drove through South Dakota one time. Because I was on a road trip across the states, and I was like tripping from Nevada up to what's the town right in the middle of Canada called Winnipeg. I was driving up to Winnipeg, and I was going, and I was like, oh, we'll drive via Mount Rushmore, and we'll go check out Mount Rushmore. And we drove up there, and then we drove from Mount Rushmore just across the bottom of South Dakota, and then up through South Dakota and North Dakota into Winnipeg. And for hours and hours and hours, you're driving, and it is flat, and there is nothing, and you're like, This is like the scene from The Matrix when all of the stuff just comes, all of the trays of guns just come in, but right before that happens, when it's just nothing, just the no landscapes, nothing to orient which way you're facing and stuff.
Yeah, in the intro to Zapotha, I say that the horizon is a knife gash across a scene suttered by crooked barns, without which looking at it would feel like looking off the edge of the world. Because that's literally what I imagine.
Oh, that's some good stuff.
I was like, that is the edge. Like, I imagine those stories from folklore of like a ship going off the edge of the world. That's what I think of Wisconsin.
Damn.
If you want more dramatic shit like that, watch Zapotha. One of my most dramatic lines that I ever got to deliver was in Zapotha, where I just got to say to a player, "And in this moment, you know what it is to be prey."
Ooh.
And
that's good. I like that.
Yeah.
That's evocative. Where can people watch this? Is it on your YouTube?
So that is on my YouTube channel, which is just Gnome Ann on YouTube, and it's the only thing on there right now. So please. I swear to God, I'll do YouTube when there's so many platforms.
There's so many platforms.
So many platforms.
Jesus.
I'm getting better, okay?
And that's a three-part series?
Yeah, that's just 3 episodes. The whole thing's like under 10 hours. But lots of content warnings for that one. If you like my silly little haha vibes, maybe watch Be Gay Do Crime, which is an incredibly long show that's on its own YouTube channel called Be Gay Do Crime D&D. If you want something that is heart-wrenching and terrifying, but also has silly haha moments, watch Zapotha.
Nice. Yeah, it's a
Zapotha
dedicated platform, yeah.
Wait, well, I have a new AP coming out soon, so.
And that's going to be its own YouTube channel. You're just going to keep making YouTube channels for all of the different ones.
They can't stop me. So never monetized.
So we're jumping around like a Quentin Tarantino film here. So you did Be Gay Do Crime, and that's still going?
No, so that is on like, it's kind of on like we've wrapped up the first season, and it was like a persistent thing, and so now we're doing like a long hiatus. Well, I don't know if we're gonna do a second season. We haven't figured that out.
It's on an indefinite hiatus.
I kind of liked how it ended, so I'm like, and I want to do a bunch of other systems. The thing is, I'm doing a lot of like shorter projects now, because also the thing is with those ongoing APs, it becomes really hard for new people to jump in.
Yes.
When there's a year worth of lore built up, it's like, it's tricky, right?
Yeah, for sure. Like even with the Viva guys, we're only half-hour content every week, so it's easy to keep up with. But if you haven't seen it before and you jump in now, we've got 160 episodes, which is still 80 hours worth of content. And so recently we had to do like recap episodes and been like, hey, this is the first arc of the campaign in 8 minutes, and this is the second arc in 8 minutes, and here's a 3-minute video of the next arc, and like watch those, and then you can jump in up to date. Because without an on-ramp, without an onboarding kind of thing for new people into any sort of actual play, it's just not going to work.
Yeah, and with Be Gay Do Crime, I really tried to run it in arcs. Like, the whole premise is that they work for the Alphabet Mafia, and they're being sent on missions to further the gay agenda through illegal means. That old chestnut.
Yeah.
And so every month, every month was a different like mission from the Alphabet Mafia that they're being sent on, and we'd have different guests in for a month. So the idea being you could join in any new arc, which would start every month, and you would be able to kind of join in. But despite my best intentions, my little dramatic epic tale storyteller side did come out. And I definitely had to be like, oh, and it's you have to save the universe again.
Yeah. and things escalated. And everything's suddenly connected, and now you can't really jump in on this month without seeing, because that was my intention, but I'm now referencing things from Arc 2.
I know.
Yeah.
I really love narrative elegance and bringing things together, and I was like,
long cons.
I love revelations that have been built up for a long period of time that have like such impact.
In one of my home games, from the very first moment that I started, I took some of the characters' backstories. And I was like, ooh, this works with this one really well. Oh, I'll make these guys cousins. The 2 of the main characters. I'll make them first cousins, because one of them was a half-orc and she didn't know her biological dad because he impregnated her mother, blah, blah, blah. but her mother died in childbirth because she was a human, and the other one was like, I never knew my dad because he went off to join the war, and that I just made it that his dad went off to join the war to kill the orcs because he hated the orc that had killed his sister. And so they didn't know all of the details, though. They didn't know those individual things, so they were first cousins since day one. It took me 7 years before they finally worked it out in-game. And I was just sitting on it the whole time, just sitting on like a long con, and I just love those like long cons because every so often your players will get like this close to discovering something, and then they'll just go in a different direction, or they'll miss a clue that you've given them, and you'll be like, well, that's going to pay off later. That's going to be even more tasty later when they look back and go, holy shit, this whole time.
You know what my drug of choice is watching my players hypothesize about what's going on.
I have a whole Discord now for all of that stuff. That's one of the things I love most about the Adventures of Azroom with the Viva La Dirtly guys and my Twitch Tales campaign, because we've got different channels to talk about each one, and it fuels me like a vampire to go in and just read that channel and be like, oh, they're getting some things right here and way off on others.
It's so good. It's so good. And it's I didn't even talk about this, but I used to write novels. Before I started writing campaigns.
Nice.
And I think I loved that, but part of it was like you don't get feedback, you don't get buy-in from anyone. Nobody gives a shit about the working file on your computer that you've been working on for a year. Versus like, and then also you have to edit, exhausting. Versus, I was like, when you're telling stories actively, when you're coming up with them and they're leaving your mouth the second you conceive of them in places, and then the audience is right there and they're engaged and they're also contributing. It is like such
the audience contributing makes this TTRPG thing so unique of a storytelling medium, because especially for home games, the audience of the story that you're telling, the entire intended audience of the story you're telling is the people who is telling the story. You're a writer's room that is also the actors in the thing that you're doing and is also the audience for it. It's so bizarre and unique, and I love it.
Well, and it was funny. I was talking on Winter's Tales last night when we were world building. I was like, sometimes I think I enjoy being in a writer's room more than I enjoy writing. And it's because the sort of like popcorn ping pong inspiration is such a like wild energy. And if you get the right group of people in TTRPG, and not to bring it back, but like that's what kind of happened with Zapotha. Zapotha was the first time I've ever run a game where as a GM, I literally muted my mic and stepped out of scenes because it was just the players carrying everything.
Right.
Like no need. I don't even need. I gotta go actually. And like
I can work on my next scene that I haven't severely underprepared for. Like I did not prepare this next encounter, so thankfully they are going ham on this roleplay around the campfire because and he can work out what the rest of the session looks like.
Yeah.
So order of things. So your B-grade crime sort of came to a natural ending for season 1. Were you working on other things simultaneously, or was that
no?
Your
I
main
was
focus?
by the end of that I was burnt the fuck out.
Yeah.
I think I just stared at a wall for a month after that. And then
what
I
came
started.
Next?
I started running like smaller games, just like one shots in different systems. That was also kind of when I started going like I think I'd already been to conventions before that, but that's when I started going to like like Gen Con and Big Bad Con and things like that, and like meeting other people and working on collaborative projects and things like that, which is great because when you meet so many people and you want to work on so many projects, I'm like, clearly I just need to start 500 actual plays.
Yeah. What's wrong? What's wrong with me starting another project? Somebody gives you an idea for a novel to write, and you're like, yeah, I'll start writing that novel. I'm not speaking from experience at all.
Not me literally sketching the outlines for like writing like novellas in the worlds I have created this week in other people's streams.
You're like, that's a great idea. I'm going to start that project. It's only me that can do it.
It's only...
If I could be either 2 people or just take a pill that means I don't need to sleep, then I get an extra 8 hours in my day. Well, let's be honest, 6 hours in my day. Because I'm already not sleeping as much as I should.
And I still have a day job, so like I'd do that for 8 hours a day if I could just.
Yeah, I don't have the time, and I do this full time. I don't have anybody holds down a day job and also has all this.
Yeah, I don't either, actually. Hey, I just can't get the idea of my being able to pay my rent based off people thinking that they're like, hey, yeah, I think you writing a bestiary exclusively of Furby-based monsters is a great idea. Like, I don't.
We haven't
That
even
is not
talked about your
publishing.
Furbies yet. We haven't even talked about your Furbies yet. Oh god. Oh Jesus. So that is a real thing you're publishing. You're making a
Yeah,
Furby
the Furby
bestiary.
bestiary. I've been working the Furby bestiary for over a year.
Is it a D&D based thing, or is it like system agnostic?
It's a 5e supplement of
Nice.
Furby-based monsters that I want to make it clear. These are not silly haha. These are like eldritch horrors.
Oh, they should as well. They should be. If anybody's ever had a Furby, it could attest. The fucking
Exactly.
horrendous things.
One of them does have like the unkillable trait of like a dragon. Like, you know, when you kill them and they just like go and rest for like 1D 100 years or whatever. Yeah, that's because I'm like, it's based off the fact that people like take the batteries out of their Furbies and they'll like wake up in their closet like 10 years later. I'm like, yeah, that's what I love.
The fucking creepy ass eyeballs rolling back, and you're like, you don't have power. How did you do that?
How did you? I'm also creating real Furbies based off every D&D class, and I would show them to you, but it would make terrible audio content. But they are adorable.
Just pick your favorite. I'm gonna force you to pick your favorite.
Hold on, I'm gonna show you the.
There we go. I'll ask them to pick their favorite child essentially. One of my favorite stories was Gnome and getting in trouble, getting something content on TikTok, I think, taken down for being like a turf or something, even though the thing that they were doing was specifically talking about trans rights, and like they'd made a trans Furby. Just telling the story of you getting I think it was a TikTok taken down.
Oh yeah,
your trans Furby. You got censored because you said something about having a trans Furby, and then you said he's the fucking worst. He's like an evil person or something. And then people were like, evil because he's trans, and you're like, no, not because he's trans.
You can be evil and trans, guys. I do it all the time. Like, it's okay. Hey, trans rights and trans wrongs in this. Because he's got grippers. Yeah. Okay. Oh, fine. I guess I gotta get Chad too.
Got it. All right, people listening on podcast, you've got to go and watch the YouTube YouTube accompaniment for this episode. Just
all right.
Go to this episode, about halfway mark.
All right, so for anyone in an audio experience right now, this is Chad. This is an emotronic baby Furby from 2005, which for reasons unknown to anyone has gargantuan flesh feet, which we hate. Also, a beak that's made of silicone, which also looks like flesh, and weird under eye bags. Like, he looks so tired and unhappy to be here.
Chad's lived through some things in his very short life.
Here's an audio experience for them. There you go.
I think the mic gate cut most of that, but we got a single peep of meh.
Really? He didn't say feed me to your mic? Oh, no. Mike, you coward.
The mic is protecting us from the eldritch horror that is Chad saying feed me.
That's for the best. That's for the best, honestly. Chad is the absolute worst. And to try to make myself love him more... Shut up. Sorry.
Now we can hear him.
God, he's the worst. They just made a Furby that cries and burps. It's disgusting. I hate him. Anyway, to try to make myself love him, I painted his toenails the color of the trans flag and was like, oh, and I was like, you know what? I still hate him. So, but and then TikTok like took me down for hate speech. I was like, not because he's trans. It's the only thing about him I like.
Before we got derailed with the Chad, you were going to show us some other Furbies.
This is Dagrad Mossling. This is my Circle of Spores Druid Furby.
Is that how the Furby comes, or have you adapted that Furby?
No, I've done this.
Okay, good. Because I was like, Jesus, Furby went all out on this one. They are some incredible mushrooms.
I wish they sold them with a little wizard hat and covered in mushrooms and odd glowing eyes. But no, that was all me. And then here is Luciferb, my Pact of the Fiend Warlock.
Nice. Got the
who is a
purple ram's horns, dark black
and a black Furby and pink eyes, although his horns are kind of a little crooked. I made them out of clay, and they're way too heavy for his little head. Don't tell anybody. But there he is. That's Lucifer.
Lucifer.
So
and you've statted those ones specifically. Is Lucifer has got a stat block in your for bestiary?
He actually doesn't yet. I want to make once I finally publish. Listen, I have to learn how to do layout work and books. It's really hard, and nobody told me. Okay.
You don't have a layout editor or anything. You're doing it all yourself.
You know what? It's so weird that you mentioned that. Not many layout editors are willing to work for. I really hope this Furby supplement for D&D sells well. Would you like a cut? It's so weird that they don't believe in me the way I believe in me.
How bizarre.
And I'm just waiting for the cease and desist to come from Hasbro, but I don't know if it's going to come from Furby or Wizards.
Yeah, I love that Hasbro owns both contents that you're defiling with your horrendousness. That's brilliant.
Yeah. So yeah,
it's like the situation with the Mr. Burns and all of the illnesses coming through the doorway. They're just all of the lawyers are just so they're so irate about it that they just can't get words out. They can't explain how to. They don't know how to start the letters of
what. It's just it's a season, but it just says like why.
just why did you even try?
Why did you do this?
Sparrow in chat has just reminded me that I have fought a Furby in a game of D&D before.
Really?
Yeah, I'd completely forgotten until Sparrow reminded me. Yeah, I did a Christmas one-shot with Dead Aussie Gamer. Dag ran a game for us it was part of an ongoing game, but somebody couldn't make it last minute for child care reasons or something. They were like, oh shit, sorry, I gotta look after whatever. And so Dag was left literally on the starting soon screen being like, fuck, what do we do? And so he just kind of, we're just quickly make a Hero Forge mini of anything at all, and we'll just run a Christmas one shot. And so we made a Hero Forge mini. We were all D&D minis. It was a very meta game. We were all D&D minis on a table when all of the and we as the players were the ones playing the game of D&D. But we all got up and left the table, and that's when our minis came to life, Toy Story style, and said like, I'm sick of being played with all the time. They're manhandling us, yada yada yada. We looked across the room at the Christmas tree, and we're like, the Christmas ornaments have it good. Like, they're all hanging off of the tree, and they only get manhandled once a year. If we can make it across this table, down the leg, across the carpet, up the Christmas tree, and disguise ourselves as Christmas ornaments, we'll get put away at the end of the Christmas season, and we won't get touched again for another year. And that's kind of our mission for the whole one shot. And every time the players came back in, we had to like go Toy Story style and like whatever, stop what we were doing. It was a very incredible story for the fact that he was just making it up on the fly. But when we got down across the shag carpet, we started climbing the Christmas tree by climbing all of the Christmas presents at the bottom of the tree, and and then one of them started making a noise and said, "Feed me!" And then just burst open, and this Furby came out to like attack us, and we had to like try and get around the back of it and make it. We had to go like cold shots on the back panel to break it open and take the batteries out in order to kill it or something. I don't know if it's still available as a VOD anywhere, but fuck, it was a funny.
Sounds
funny
incredible. If you would like a Furby based monster, I've got a dozen of them.
I bet. It'd be a shit bestiary if you didn't.
It's just one monster. It's just one Furby. Welcome to my bestiary. It's just one guy, reprinted 10 times. There you go.
Just like,
enjoy.
Now he's got fire resistance, and now he's got ice resistance, and this is the same stat block. But I mean, Wizards of the Coast got away with it with the monster manual, right? Ooh, shots fired. So where were we? You you moved on from Be Gay Do Crime. You took some time to just like do other one shots and things.
Stare at the wall, yeah,
Stare at the wall for
and
a
then
bit.
one shots and things.
One shots and stuff.
And then
working with like Monster of the Week, things that your other TCRPGs.
Also, like I had like some secret projects percolating in the background in the time, and then the next big APA came back was with Zapotha, which we aired in November, which was last month. So that kind of brings us up to present.
Wonderful. Sparrow has found and posted the link to the Fur Baby one shot that where we were.
Oh my god, amazing! Thank you, Sparrow.
Thank you, Sparrow. So that brings us up to present day. What are the projects that you can talk about that you're working on currently?
Well, my next show is going to be on December 20th, and I'm very excited about it because it's just a one shot, but I'm hoping it will grow and expand and
Hmm.
have interest, because we're running a Tingleverse game. Now, have you heard
What
of
is
the
Tingle?
classic TTRPG Tingleverse?
No.
Oh my God, that's so funny that you mentioned that. Um, are you a fan of weird erotica author Chuck Tingle?
I've heard of Chuck Tingle. Maybe through you, in fact. I think I was. I think it was through you. I think it. Oh, it was. I think it was yesterday on Winter's Tales. World building. How did an erotica author come up during world building? I don't know,
Listen, if there's
but I'm
one
pretty
thing
sure
you
that's
can,
the first time I heard of Chuck Tingle.
hey, hey guys, if you want to hang out with me, there are really easy ways, things you can expect. A little bingo card you can bring with you. Things Gnome will bring up in conversation. Mushrooms, Furbies, Chuck Tingle. That's weird dead stuff, bones. Like these are just I think how normal conversations work, right? This is my version of small talk. Is it working?
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, hey, it's better than actual small talk as far as I'm concerned.
There you go. Uh, so, Chuck Tingle is a weird erotica author,
Okay, first
and
thing that comes up if I Google Chuck Tingle is a picture of a book, book front page, I think maybe on Amazon, and the title is
Mhm.
"The Physical Manifestation of Wordle Pounds My Butt as a Slightly Frustrating but Ultimately Rewarding and Meditative Daily Routine." From two-time
Yes.
Hugo Award finalist Chuck Tingle.
Well, and that's okay. So the story behind Chuck Tingle, um, so he kind of wrote all this like weird erotica, like pounded in the butt my own butt, pounded in the butt by the book, pounded in my butt my own butt. Those kind of
Jesus
like,
Christ.
uh, a lot of like just like absurdist erotica, right?
Okay.
And some
The
some some
next
devil.
one is living
Hmm.
inside my own butt for 8 years, starting a business and turning a profit through common sense reinvestment and strategic targeting marketing.
Yes, yes, it's a classic actually. That one is on the podcast as well. Um, if you want to diversify your portfolio, uh, you considered investing in your own butt?
I have
Uh,
not yet.
so,
So,
yeah,
Chuck Tingle, there's a Tingleverse that is a
a
TTRPG
TTRPG.
set in the erotic, weird worlds of Chuck Tingle's butt, essentially.
No, it's not in his butt.
Oh, okay.
So it is. It's not actually erotic.
Okay.
There's lots
I
of
would
like
assume
winks.
not. Give.
Um, Oh no, I want to make it clear for anyone who thinks that these are just memes. These are actual stories. They're all 4,000 words ish. And they include incredibly explicit pornography. So if you thought it was just funny ha
Oh wow.
and not very graphic porn, I just want to be clear that it's both. You can, hey,
Okay.
find yourself a person who can do both.
Right. Right. There's a lot of funny
Yeah.
things happen during sex. You gotta.
Sometimes Space Raptor butt invasion is that was the Hugo Award nominee, by the way.
Space
Raptor
Raptor butt invasion. There are certain
Yeah.
words that go together that you're like, I don't think that's ever been said on my stream before. I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure you get there.
Well,
I don't think I've had a guest talk about human composition, human decomposition, human composting, and erotica with space raptors in your butt.
yeah, hi. This is what I do. So Chuck is a big fan of Dungeons and Dragons
Right.
and has actually written several Tinglers, which are what the short stories are called, about sentient D20s that can pound you in the butt.
Nice.
And he also wrote a TTRPG called Tingleverse, which is, by the way, in a bamboozling turn of events, OSR. So I'm having to learn
Oh.
Thaco out here.
Oh fuck. What? Why? It wouldn't have
If
been.
there's
It wouldn't have
anyone-
been made at the time of OSR, would it? Like it's.
No.
So he's
It's like
made a choice.
He's made a choice. So I, if there's anyone who could get me to learn second edition, it's Chuck Tingle. So here we are.
Oh Jesus.
Here we
Okay.
are. And also I have dyscalculia, so I can't really like.
Oh fuck.
Uh,
Good luck.
I'm like I can't even like fully conceive of numbers in my head, which is a super
Mate.
fun and quirky.
Mate,
quirk.
I have a
like
maths degree. I literally have a degree in applied mathematics, and I struggled to understand the basics of that. Go.
Shut up. I had the entire internet explain Thaco to me yesterday, so that was great.
Because you made the mistake of explaining that you were learning about Thaco.
I know, that's on
struggling
me. And you know what? I think I understand it less now. It's funny, every new person who explains it, I understand a little less because every explanation is different. How can that be? Anyway, so I'm learning it though. I'm figuring it out. So we're running a holiday special. It takes place in like a little Hallmark world. But one of the great things about this system is there are some characters who have meta awareness, so they are aware that they are fictional. And then some characters aren't, and they're just like Bigfoots. Big feet, unclear. Butt raptors and unicorns going about their daily lives in this modern setting. That is in a timeline very similar to our own.
And so this is something you're going to be running soon on your channel?
Yeah, that's going to be it's in 2 weeks. It's on December 20th that one is going to run. I'm very excited about it. I really hope that people get it.
Who's playing it?
So that one is going to be, it is Wraith Slender Noya on Twitter. It is Brutal Dan, Danny from the internets, and
on the spot.
On the spot's making me remember who's in my shows. It's Hamasama-kun, who was in Zapotha, who played Jasmine in Zapotha, and it's the DM Mandy. So that is the cast. You know Mandy.
I know from the Mandy.
Yeah, the Mandy. Is it not the DM Mandy? Oh, God.
I don't know. Maybe it's a different Mandy. I know the Mandy.
Oh God, the Mandy. I think
is it the DM Mandy? I know the Mandy with 2 eyes.
That's the one. That's the one.
Mandy's been on my short rest before.
Wraith in chat's like, I'm here. This is my Christmas gift to the world. Also, this is my little humble brag. I'm kind of like buddies with Chuck Tingle, and so I told him we were running this, and he's like really excited, which made me really happy.
Oh, nice. How many episodes is it?
Oh, this is just a one shot for now.
Is it just a one shot? Oh man, you should get him to record something. If he's a fan of this and you're a friend of it, you should get him, because I assume your players know what the fuck they're getting into. They know what Chuck Tingle is.
Half of them do and half of them
Jesus
don't.
Christ, why would you not introduce them to? They're going to be so You know what we were saying about the horror being important for the buy-in of your players? You're like, this feels like one of those situations. You need the buy-in. You need the players to understand what they're doing so that they understand the theme and the genre and the style of it from the beginning.
They know the genre, but also one thing about Chuck Tingle things is often there are like concepts, like manifest concepts that show up.
Right.
So like you can just be going about your business and run into the physical manifestation of the first time you realize you're immortal. But also he's super hot and has abs.
Obviously.
And like
that's
just
like
in the butt. Probably. I mean, we'll see how things go.
So I was definitely pounded in the butt by the manifestation of the first time I realized I was mortal. I remember a long shower when I was like thinking about the origin of the universe, and I was like 13.8 billion years that the universe has been around, and it will probably be around another few trillion until the heat death of the universe, and that's several trillion years that the universe will be around. And if I'm lucky, will maybe see 100 years. And I was like, that's so pathetic. I'm going to miss out on so much of the universe. And I was very upset about my mortality. So yeah, I was getting pounded in the butt in the shower by my physical manifestation of my mortality.
If it makes you feel better, though, if you play your cards right, you can become a mushroom after death, and they live for an incredibly long time.
That's pretty good.
Thousands of years.
I do.
For a large amount of fungus.
They're gonna as a colony.
Yeah, the mushroom is the fruiting body. Yeah. It's the underground network that actually survives. Did you know? Okay, one more mushroom fact.
All comes back around to human decomposition, mortality, and mushroom facts. Is your camera following you magically?
Yeah, it is.
What the fuck is this magic? What is this? What is this magic? You didn't move around, your camera follows you? I gotta do this fucking pleb shit of put my hand onto the camera.
Yeah, no, I just jump around too much in stream. I had to get one of these smart boys.
Smart ones that follows you.
Yeah, but did you know that both the largest and the fastest fastest accelerating organisms on Earth are mushrooms.
I knew the largest was. Fastest accelerating because it's one of those exploding spore ones. The spore one.
Yeah.
It's faster than a mantis shrimp.
I don't know how fast a mantis shrimp is.
Mantis shrimps are fast enough to cause light to erupt from explosions of the implosions of vacuums. Mantis shrimp attack with their like fucking praying mantis. They hit something out and back in again at such speed that they cause vacuation within the water, which is where the water gets pulled apart from other water molecules to the point where a vacuum bubble appears and then immediately collapses, and that's how they hit their prey. They don't actually have to hit the creature. They create a vacuum explosion that pulls their prey into it, and it's such a fast event that light actually appears from it. It's pretty freaking metal. And
that sounds really freaking cool.
And I would be surprised that a spore is shot out at a faster rate than that. But I mean, I wouldn't challenge you on your mushroom facts.
I mean, to be fair though, I don't know much about shrimp, so that's okay. What I'm talking about is the hat thrower fungus, and its spores accelerate. Name. I think. Yeah, it goes from
that's
like
one of your monsters, I assume, right?
Not yet.
No, because hat thrower fungus immediately makes me think of Oddjob from GoldenEye, like throwing his bowler hat. With a sharpened rim on it, but like a mushroom, like a myconid who can take their hat off and throw it at a super. Yeah.
Well, one of its other common names is the dung cannon.
That's not as cool. That's what their enemies call them. That's among the myconid army, they call them the hat throwers, and among the alternate army, they call them the dung cannons.
But they say it goes from like, I think it's about 0 to 45 miles per hour in the space of 1 millimeter is how fast they accelerate. So like, I don't know. It's not their own body that's moving that fast. It's the spores they're expelling. So it might be different.
I mean, if you're gonna go by that, then we've created very fast weapons as humans, and so it's like if you talk about if you're firing a projectile, and that's the thing that's fast. But the kind of feels then by extension.
Not to get graphic, but you can't do it with your own body, and you can't do it with your own body parts, throwing them out, which is kind of what the fungus is doing.
Well, you've never been with me, no. 45 miles an hour, they call me. That was my nickname in college. Ajo says the mantis shrimp moves at 23 meters per second. We need to convert these into the same thing. Hey, the Mandy, speak of the devil. There we are.
Mandy, I was just talking about Tinklebirth. Hi.
Yeah, we need to convert these into the same measurements, units of measurements. Otherwise, I don't know which is faster.
I listen, guys. I'm not a math gay, please. All I know are mushrooms, and all I know are mushroom, Furby, dead body, and pun. Please don't ask me to do basic arithmetic.
It's a good thing. Good that you haven't gotten into a career online of where, like, you know, in games that require a lot of arithmetic a lot of the time.
Sometimes I swear to God, I roll a die and I can't read the number, and so I just make number sounds with my mouth, and I also don't know what those mean, and then I just wait for the players' reactions. Don't tell them that.
So I don't know if you know, but I'm the writer for a skit series online called D&D Logic with the Viva La Diddley guys, and we've just filmed season 2 of that to be coming out at some point next year, I think. And one of those episodes is called Bad Math, and there is a character in that is doing exactly what you just said, where they look at the numbers and go 4, 7, 12, just waiting for other people to do the maths for them.
Yeah, well, it's okay. It's one of the most surreal things too, because when I was diagnosed with ADHD, I didn't believe. I was a skeptic. I was like, sounds fake. Actually, I think I'm just a shite person, so.
I'd rather believe that
I'd rather believe
shit.
I'm just garbage. But it was the most surreal experience because when I started taking ADHD meds, I could read numbers, which is like some limitless shit for me. I'm like, y'all heard about this thing called a sequence of numbers I can read out loud? When I was a kid, I would fold my math tests to try and like copy them because it's like, for me, I say looking at a number is kind of like looking at like a Chinese character.
Yeah.
Like I can see the shape of it, but I can't
Yeah.
really hold it in my head.
Yeah.
Like it's like I don't know what this is. Really,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. But yeah. And you know
like
what?
looking
Though,
at the
sometimes
sequence of all of the Chinese characters and then being like, all right, and then write some
and then write
other
it down,
ones down.
and I'm like,
what shape was it?
I can try. I'll do my best.
I'll
I'll
trace it. Let me have tracing paper in the maths exam.
Yeah, that's literally what I did. Such funny little neurodivergent quirks. But yeah, you live and you learn.
Brains are fun places.
But one of the great things about, TTRPG and my struggles with numbers is that, like, at least I find this community is generally, one, full of neurodivergence, and two, pretty accepting of quirks and weirdness in general.
Mm-hmm.
So I tell people, like, I always have, like, one of the players run initiative. Initiative is something I cannot conceive of in my mind. I cannot take a sequence of numbers and put them in, like, order. Like, that is not a thing I can do very easily. So I'm like, you do it. And they're, like, pretty happy to do that. And, like, I've gotten good enough now where I can, like, roll and see the number and, like, do basic arithmetic. And they just tell me which number's bigger or smaller. And it's, like, teamwork.
Yeah, teamwork. Absolutely. I play with a lot of people who have to do finger counting for like 2 single-digit numbers. They'll roll a 4 and they've got to add 3 and they'll go 4, 5, 6, 7. And it's like, I don't judge them for it. Like, my brain works very differently to that. Like, I mean, like, to me, numbers are like, it sounds really fucking, sounds like I'm a very sad child to say this out loud, but numbers are like friends, where they like have relationships to each other and to me, and I can keep that in my mind. And so, like, I know 7 + 8 is 15 because that relationship is established, and I know that 36 is double 18. So, like, if somebody takes if somebody takes 49 damage but they've got resistance, I'll go 25 because I know what the relationships of halving a 49 is, and that gives me this other number and stuff, and that comes to me without having to think it through. And then the numbers that I'm not familiar with, like my friends, are like the really high numbers that I'm not used to using commonly every day. If something happens for like 176 damage and then blah 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 something else, then I have to actually stop and work it out. But I can individually break that large number into numbers that I am familiar with, and then do the calculations on that, and then put it back together again. And so I can do all that shit very quickly.
I think our brains are actually really similar in certain ways because I also form very strong associations with numbers that are like relationships and things. The problem is mine aren't with other numbers.
Right.
I have so I'll say, when I hear the number like 5, I'll think hand, orange. I'll think tall. I don't know why tall. I'll think refrigerator. Like, these are things that I associate with the number 5. And I think Wednesday. Why? Yeah. That's not the 5th day of the week. That's a number.
It's not even the 5th if you start the day start the week on a Sunday.
I don't know, but it's like my brain forms associations with different things, and so like trying to get it to be like, okay, but what's the relationship between 5 and 13? Is my brain's like, well, 13 green, 5 orange yellow, and it's like, well, shit, I don't know.
Add them together. Well, add green from orange, and what do you get? And you're like, what? That doesn't make sense. Why are you adding them?
I call it shitty synesthesia
shitty brown.
Because
like
I have both.
Synesthesia.
It's shitty synesthesia because I have both synesthesia and aphantasia, which is the worst thing.
Fuck.
Which is like I associate things with colors, but I can't see colors in my brain.
Did you talk to AJ about that? Because she's actually got the same combination. She's got aphantasia and a form of AJ's got aphantasia and a form of synesthesia, or like a weakened form of synesthesia.
Aphantasia did come up because we came up with such beautiful scenery, and I was like, I want to see it.
It's
so
incredible.
Bad.
Yeah, it's incredible to me that storytellers that are so with the evocative language you were using before of like the landscape and the knife wound and stuff and the edge of the earth. And it's like, that's some beautiful imagery for somebody who can't see shit. I'm the other end of the spectrum of aphantasia. I can imagine anything I want, and I could like close my eyes and I could see it all perfect. I could take things apart and see how it was put together and stuff.
That's too much power. I would spend my entire day just thinking about. I would just think about boobs all day.
I do think about boobs a lot. I do think about boobs a lot more than I should. But yeah, I can imagine all sorts of stuff, and that's what I have to do if I'm telling stories. Like if you walk into a tavern and I start describing the tavern, I see the tavern. Like I can build the tavern in front of me, like some sort of matrix. It all just like appears, and I'm like, okay, I know the dimensions of it. I know where it is. I can run a theater of the mind game because I can keep a track of where everybody is on the field in relation to each other.
Before I knew I was like autistic, I had players comment on how I do descriptions. They're like, your descriptions are so like sensory intense.
Right.
I've had players say like, I've never heard someone describe how things smell as much as you do. Like I walk into the room, one of the first things I describe is like the noise level, the smell you experience, the temperature on your skin, like all of these things.
And I was as someone as neurodivergent as you, it's all sensory overload. Like you are used to experiencing all that shit all at once when you walk into a place.
I didn't realize that for other people, they're like, oh, it's like a heightened reality when you. I'm like, no, that's just what reality is like, right? That's how we all. That's how we all just walk into rooms and are immediately accosted by a sensory nightmare, right? And they're like, no, we actually look in and take the layout of a room. I'm like, oh, wait, what? You know how far things are away? Can't. Versus like, I think, and it's funny because there was a time, and one thing that was interesting about Zapotha is because the bit was that it was a film, I actually used a lot less sensory description. I used a lot of audio cues and a lot of like framing. Like it is, there's some parts where I'm like, there is, distortion on the VHS. There is, or like things like that. Whereas like the framing cuts here, we hear zoom in, pan, like all that language that we use a lot. But I didn't really get into like, but I use a lot of, I really like sound cues in films. I love that because I have very high, like I have misophonia and a lot of like extreme sensitivity with sound in particular.
Right.
It's a huge stressor of mine. It's why I live in the woods. But it's also makes everything like very evocative and intense. Yeah. Like it's like a whole, like for me, like walking in like a forest is like being in a symphony. It's like there's so much going on. It's very exciting. So like that's how I like to describe things. And it's kind of cool because I'm like, oh, so this like, kind of mundane experience for me is like actually a kind of cool and new experience for people. I had someone tell me recently that like the way you talk about the world is how that they feel when they're on shrooms.
Right.
Which is like, that I love that as a mycophile. I'm like, I just like it's like the sensory stuff's always kind of at an 11. And the amount that's being taken in the connections I'm always drawing between things and the amount of analogies I use when I speak I'm like, it is like I see something like, a stark horizon with like weird thing. I'm like, oh yeah, it looks like a knife gash that's badly sutured. And people are like, why would you think that? I'm like, I don't, that's literally how my brain just connects information.
Yeah, likewise.
It's not even,
Yeah, the amount of analogies that end up in my everyday speech is stark. It's a lot. I find it very, very funny, for want of a better adjective, to see all of the similarities in the way that you and I work with a lot of things there. Given that you have been diagnosed autistic, ADHD, you have aphantasia, synesthesia, and misophonia, and your brain was just like, have all of these things. This is the most unique combination of all of this shit. And I, at this stage, have not yet been diagnosed anything. And so, technically speaking, I'm neurotypical. But as everybody has been telling me for years now, you're not.
I also think with neurodivergence, they tend to, sometimes I'll look at myself and I'll be like, okay, non-binary, queer, autistic ADHD. I'm like, that sounds a bit much. Settle down, okay?
Let's not be greedy here. Fuck's sake. I'm not trying to play fucking Pokemon with all of these labels.
I know. I'm not trying to catch them all. Like, I don't need a whole fucking alphabet soup behind my name. I've got the alphabet mafia and the DSM back here. Like, I'm good. But I do think that a lot of these things tend to go together. It's like, you know, like neurodivergence it's just kind of like, you tend to have a bunch of it. And I think a lot of the labels we use are kind of the best what we have for now.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be surprised if in 20 years they have a different label.
Yeah,
because I've also been diagnosed with other stuff too that I think was incorrect.
Well, that's the thing. Like one of the best quotes I heard. It's been ages since I thought of it. I wonder if I can still get it right. It was like, "Nature is under no obligation to put itself into our boxes," by which it means that like we as people require boxes. I'm not one of these that says like, oh, I'm a label anarchist. I'll just like, no, because we need labels to understand things. Like, words mean things. And we don't have telepathy. The best we've got is the way of me getting what's in my head into your head is to put what I'm thinking of or what I'm trying to get across into language and then say it and then you hear it. And that's why words and their meanings are important. And yes, language changes over time, but we need to be on top of that that transformation over time in order for language to still be effective and efficient. And so we need labels to understand the world around us and to see what things happen. But whenever we put something, a box around something and give it a label, by definition, we have arbitrarily drawn that boundary in a world of an entire spectrum of things, spectrums of colours and stuff. Like, you can't point to a colour palette and go, which bit's red. You can point to one pixel that's red and another pixel that's red, but you keep doing that for long enough and you're like, that's kind of orange. Oh, that's kind of purple. And so we're by definition putting arbitrary boundaries around things, and the more we learn, the more science we understand about the brain and psychology and stuff, the more we have to evolve our language and our boundaries and say like, yeah, I'm kind of here. Everything's becoming a spectrum because we're starting to understand that is how nature works. Everything is a spectrum in nature. So like everybody is, somebody said it in the chat, like actual neurotypicals are unicorns. They don't actually exist because everybody has some kind of something that we don't have enough understanding to fully understand what's unique about their particular brain.
Yeah. I don't know if you know this about me, but my day job is I'm a librarian.
Oh, right. I didn't.
So literally what I do is categorize information into boxes, put information in boxes that we can understand it and retrieve it and interact with it better.
Yes.
But, and like in information science, we talk about this a lot. We're doing our best to kind of round the corners of reality so that it's most useful. What's most useful for us.
Yeah.
But it's not always going to be your goal is not to be the most accurate representation of reality, because that is impossible. And that's tying it back in, because again, you know how I love narrative elegance. That's what I love about fungi so much, is that they don't fit into our traditional taxonomies very well.
Right. Yeah.
They are making people reconsider their botanical and generally all of the taxonomies because they keep not fitting and they keep getting reclassified over and over again. And to dry it back again, I also think this is what I love about TTRPG, is because what TTRPG is taking stories which are inherently messy and complex and trying to fit them into these moments that can be framed numerically in terms of probability and chance. And no mechanic is going to ever 100% accurately represent what could happen, but we're going to do our best to represent it within the framework that we're choosing.
And every system has to make a decision on how much of this are we going to try and represent as accurately as possible. If you want to try and accurately represent the physics, then you have to go with Pathfinder 1E route of going, what angle is the floor on, and what material is it made of, and how humid is it, and how wet the floor is. All actual examples of things in order to ascertain what the DC of jumping from that surface to another surface is. That's a genuine section of Pathfinder's first book, is like, if you're going to make a jump from here to here, you need to make an athletics check or whatever it is, but the DC is calculated by all of these different factors to try and work it all out. And you need to go, well, that's down one end of the spectrum, and then other ends are like purely narrative TTRPGs where you don't roll anything at all and you just decide what happens. And every system has to decide, where on this line are we going to fall? We have to round the corners somewhere, as you say.
Yeah. And I love that. I love that. And I also love that every system has to kind of like set it themselves of like how they are choosing to depict reality
Yeah.
and where they're choosing to draw that box and whether or not they think kissing in a dangerous situation isn't important enough to have its own category.
Which it always is.
Which it always is. Oh, my camera got so excited about it.
Camera's gone. I don't know where she went. Hey, camera, it's the one with the green hair.
Nah.
It's the bit with the green. It's going to find Frogula instead now. What is that? Is that a tree? Like, I didn't see the tree before.
Yeah, that's my background tree. That's my emotional support tree I built.
It's incredible.
Did you see my emotional support bones in the grass?
I did see the bones when we were talking about human decomposition before. I was going to make some joke about you having hands-on experience decomposing someone in your own house. When you were talking about how hot it is to decompose human bodies, I was like, that's your heater. That's your room. That's your room heater.
Listen. Don't use fossil fuels. Use dead bodies.
Use dead bodies. We've got too many of them anyway. I mean, fossil fuels are dead bodies.
Well, actually, no, stop. Plant matter. This is another fungus anecdote. I can't. You gotta cut me off.
we gotta cut off. All right. We are so far close to the end of this 2 hours that we've allocated, and I've not even asked you what the sort of future of Gnome Ann holds. And I've not left any space for people in the chat to ask us questions. So if you are wanting to ask either of us questions and we've been ignoring you, make sure to ask them in the chat. And if you can, use the copper piece channel point redemptions of Ask a D&D question. That way it goes into a redemptions list and I don't miss them. And I'll make sure to ask them before the end of the stream. But, Gnome, let's ask about future from here. What is in the immediate future of you, other than the what's it called? Somethingverse, Tinkleverse.
So
Tinkleverse. Yeah. Other than that, what's extra on the horizon for the future of Gnome Ann?
So, I will be publishing a D&D Mycelium one-shot with Penny Dragon. That is a publisher that will be coming out next year, and I am also going to be running a 3-session actual play in February that is Moonlight on Roseville Beach, which is very exciting. It's a queer disco cosmic horror role-playing game. Nice. We love supporting an indie game, and we love it when it's queer disco cosmic horror, and it's all based off like these like pulp kind of like pulp horror novels from like the 50s, and it's set in 70s. Very excited about that one. After that, I've got some more larger AP products coming out that I can't quite tell you about yet, but just follow me in places and stuff.
Watch the space.
That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get a bunch of small projects out now because I'm excited about it because I have some big stuff coming. And also I'm going to be doing more writing and publishing on that things. I'm going to be doing, in addition to this adventure, supplements like the For Bestiary, which I swear to God, I will publish. I'm gonna learn. I have like a thing on my calendar where it's like the day you finish this one project that you're under contract to do, you do this other one. So that one is going to be out published as well soon.
Very cool. And then what about blue sky far future stuff? Where would you like to be? What's the goal for you? Would you like to be doing this full time? Eventually give up your day job stuff, or are you enjoying librarianisms? That's the word.
I think. Listen, if I win the lottery, yes. I think for me, my goal has always just been to tell the best stories I can, which for me requires money because I need like producers and things like that, and also to eat food. But that's. I think what I'm doing now, what I'm working on instead is like raising the bar in terms of like what we can do creatively, pushing the envelope a bit of what AP can be. Right, I love making the side kinds I've always made. Those are great too. But I also want to like do some weird experimental stuff. Nice. So we're trying to push that a bit. I don't think my goal is to go full time because for me, I think the pressure of having my finances depending on my creative work would make it really hard for me to make wild. Because what I want to do is make big swings and big misses. Like I want to fuck up publicly and have it not ruin my life. Like that's my goal. So, fair enough. But I get that. I do want to make some really, really good stuff anyway.
Awesome. Fantastic. How about conventions? You going to any conventions next year?
Oh, yes, I'm definitely going to be going to Gen Con again. Love Gen Con,
Nice,
and
I
I'm a
see you there.
huge fan of Big Bad. I went to Big Bad Con for the first time
What
this
is Big
year.
Bad? I don't know that one.
So Big Bad is a smaller, like TTRPG creator focused con. It's
Oh,
only like a
okay.
few thousand people in San Francisco.
San
Um,
Fran.
but it was just like if you ever want to talk to creators, if you ever want to just like hang out till like 3 in the morning with people who are way too into this and have too many big thoughts about this weird
Yes,
shit we do,
always.
like that's all Big Bad Con is. It's
When
like
is it?
that is the energy. That one is October, I think,
Ooh, it's
is when
always
it
PAX
happens.
Australia times. I'll be doing a lot of
Oh
lot
shoot.
of travels and a lot of cons next year. I'm going to GaryCon for the 50th anniversary of D&D. First time at GaryCon, which is going to be pretty exciting. I've got an industry notable badge for GaryCon. Feeling pretty good about that.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah, I know, right? It was maybe partially because I am not good at organising my time, and I eventually got around to being like, fuck, I really should order tickets to get from New Zealand to fucking Wisconsin, and so I ordered tickets, and then I like booked the flights and everything, and I was like, right. Oh fuck! I don't actually have tickets to GaryCon yet. Let's get the tickets. Oh, it's all sold out. Oh shit. Oh wait a minute. I'm friends with people who know people, so I
Hey,
reached out and was
I'm
like, "Hey,
notable.
I'm an industry notable person. Maybe tell them I'm coming." And sure enough, they reached out to me after hearing that and was like, "Hey, I hear you're coming to Wisconsin. We'll give you a badge." I was like, "Yeah,
I
using
love
my
that for you.
using my connections."
It is always surreal when I find out that people in the space like actually perceive me. I'm like, what?
Right.
Like I'm like, wait, you noticed?
That was something at Gen Con this year. Fuck.
Yeah.
I remember it like it was last year. It was a couple of months ago. It feels like a lot longer ago. But yeah, it was this year. I was at Gen Con and I was like going up to people that I like and being like, going to their tables or the booths or whatever to be like, hey, I've always enjoyed your work. And then as I'd approach them, they'd be like, oh, Robert, I've been hoping to bump into you. I'd be like, oh fuck, people know me. I'm getting to a point.
It's weird. It's
so
weird, and I'm like, I don't know. I'm
It's so
also I'm also pretty face blind, so I know I got them all. I just like,
Just because I was like,
uh,
do I have anything else? You're going through the
I
list
don't-
of them, like, oh yeah, this one, I'll take that one. Under
so
character creation.
sometimes I'll be like speaking to someone who like is kind of famous, and I won't know who they are until someone else says their name, and I'm like, oh shit. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. I'm just humble, I guess.
Yeah, free geek in the chat got the bingo with the face blindness.
Yeah.
Got the full house.
I know it's exhausting.
I bet.
Um,
Yeah, so I'll be going to GaryCon, I'll be going to Gen Con, I'll be going to PAX Australia, because I like to do that every year, because that's a pretty easy jaunt across from New Zealand to Melbourne. As far as travel goes, 3-hour flight is much easier than a 16-hour flight to America. So yeah, I'll be doing a lot of travel just to kind of get out there, because I love conventions and I love traveling. I love meeting new people.
I love conventions. I hate traveling. And I also, like I said, I live in the woods of Canada. So me getting to all these conventions, kind of terrible.
Which province you in? Oh,
British
province?
Columbia.
Yeah, in BC. Nice.
Yeah.
I'll be
West
dropping
Coast.
off. I'll be dropping off in BC on my way to the GaryCon thing, because I'm going to take a week of snowboarding first in Banff. So I'm going to fly from New Zealand to Vancouver. I arrive early morning, and then I'm going to hang out with with M and the Blackwater
At
gaming guys.
Blackwater? Oh my god.
Yeah, I'm
Yes.
going to hang out with them, and then I take an 11 p.m. flight out from there. So I'm just there. I'm just in Vancouver for one day on my way out.
That's great.
In early March. It's pretty exciting.
I don't know how to tell you this. Banff isn't in BC.
No, no. I'm on my way to.
All right, on your way to Banff.
If I wasn't clear,
okay.
that's why I fly out
Yeah,
at
yeah,
11 p.m. I'm flying
Yeah.
into Vancouver, spending the day with them, flying out at 11 p.m. to Calgary, and going from there.
No one
to
ever
Banff.
comes to Manitoba. No, nobody ever goes to Manitoba. Sorry.
I have been to Manitoba. I've been to Winnipeg, as I mentioned before.
Oh yeah, we are
in the
literally
stream.
already mentioned Winnipeg in this exact stream.
Spent a week in Winnipeg, and we were staying with a friend of my then partner's, who was we went there to like stay with her and do some like ballet stuff with them, and and we arrived when she was at work, and so we were like, oh, let's go just hang out and do some things in Winnipeg, and we went to like the farmers market or something, and we went to something else, and then we were there for when she got home. and let us in. And we were like, hey, what's there to do in Winnipeg then? We're here for a week. And she goes, oh, you can go to the farmer's market or this other thing, and that's it. And we were like, oh, we've already ticked both of those off. And she's like, you're going to have a boring week. It's just, there's nothing else you can do here. And so we just stayed in and watched TV pretty much the whole time.
Yeah. I've never been, so I can't talk shit.
We haven't been to Saskatchewan yet, though, because that's even less to do there, apparently. That's what we heard. So I've been BC, Alberta, Manitoba, Ottawa, the French one.
Quebec,
thank you. Quebec. I was like,
well,
I know it's the name of the one with the city.
You know what they say about Saskatchewan?
I don't.
Hard to spell, easy to draw. It's just a rectangle.
Yeah, there's nothing in it.
Yeah, it's the Wisconsin of Canada, kinda. Yeah.
Wisconsin of Canada. That's funny. All right, we are almost out of time, and I don't want it to keep you longer than I said I would. So let's get to these questions, shall we?
Okay.
Wraith 2 hours ago asks, and this is going to be another hour-long conversation, I'm sure. I need to know what your favorite mushroom is.
I'm a big fan. No, that one makes me sound like a murderer. No, whatever. I'm a big fan of Amanita phalloides, which is the death cap mushroom. Yes. It has a lot of fascinating properties. I love that it is a mushroom that is great for nature and bad for humans, and the toxins in it are fascinating to me. Amatoxins, very interesting.
And it's called a phalloid?
Amanita phalloids is
Amanita phalloid. Name. It sounds like you're saying, I'm going to eat a phallus.
I'm going to eat a phallus. My favorite mushroom.
My favorite mushroom is I'm going to eat a dick.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well,
no, and phalloid is from the Latin.
Dick shape.
Yeah. But yeah, no, the death cap mushroom, that is one of my favorites. Schizophilum commune, or the split gale mushroom, is another one of my favorites. It is a really beautiful mushroom. It has this split gale is the common name, and it makes these gorgeous fan shapes. They remind me of Iris van Herpen dresses that are just like these sculptural shapes. Also, it has 23,000 mating types, which is fascinating and makes it a queer icon.
Like genders, as it were.
Yeah, kind of like
many?
sexes. 23,000. So that we kind of.
That's too many.
Estimate.
We don't need that.
I don't know.
we don't need that. Like the Tinder profile for one of those schizophrenic mushrooms or whatever you call them. Making a profile and you're like, I'm a, and then you got 23,000 drop down, and I'm looking for a 23,000 drop down.
But do you know what's interesting though? Is it is a heterosexual mushroom. Is they will mate with any other type other than their own type.
Oh, right.
So
which should be easy. That's probably just a numbers thing. They would probably they'd probably happily go for their own type as well, but they just can't find them because there's only 23,000 of them.
Schizophilum commune really do be like 23,000 genders, no homo.
I'll fuck anything that moves except if it's got my own exact gender. That's insane. 23,000. How do they categorize those, and who counted them?
Do you actually want to know?
I do. I genuinely want to know. How did they? What?
Basically, like the way gender markers work is like in humans, we kind of have like one chromosome that like does the like gender. So they just have multiple, and for each one, they don't have just like one possibility. They have like multiple
so it's a 23,000 like possibility.
So it's a permutation.
Is that theoretically there are up to 23,000 then, or do they actually see each of those coming about? Because it could be theoretically possible to have this particular combination of gene with this particular phenome and blah blah blah. But like if it doesn't actually get seen in nature.
That is the like extrapolation based off the observations of the presentations of those genetic expressions that we've seen. Unfortunately, for reasons I don't understand, there isn't enough funding for mycologists to go and genetically test every mushroom. Nobody's clamoring,
chomping at the bit to give people money to go and study the sex of mushrooms.
Well, I mean, they should.
They should,
but not. Yeah, no, generally not as much in that. They're always obsessed with like how mushrooms can help humans and like eat fossil fuels, and that's cool and shit. But like what if they just real gay though? Let's talk about that.
Let's talk
or
about how gay they
not
are.
gay in this case.
This is Anne's next Kickstarter, yeah.
Yeah.
Give me money so that I can fund the scientists that are wanting to study the genders of mushrooms. That's incredible. All right, my favorite mushroom would probably be the button mushroom because it's delicious. I love raw mushroom.
Did you know that button mushrooms, cremini mushrooms, and portobello mushrooms are all the same mushroom at different stages of maturity?
I didn't. What was the middle one you said?
Cremini?
Cremini. That's not one I know. I don't cook much. I don't know much about foods. I know portobello and button. And I just know that they're delicious, and I'm a big fan of mushrooms.
I love that.
Sparrow says, pretty please tell us a D&D dad joke if you have one.
Okay, I got one. Meld into stone is actually a really powerful spell that helps you disappear into a rock face. But people really take it for granted.
Oh, that was pain. That's like that was like vicious mockery level of like, oh, ouch. It made my face contort. Ugh. It was a schist joke, that one.
Thanks, Mandy.
Wraith says, you are a delight, and I wish to steal you from Rob. He's an ass. Thanks, Wraith. That's not a question. She says, come hang out with us instead. Lol. Not a question. Just wanted to make sure you know you're welcome more than he is. That's from one of my mods. Thank you, Wraith. And then the last question that's come in 12 minutes ago from Matt was, Anne, I will ask my usual short rest question. Have you or your players taken a mundane magic item that has been reused in a completely unexpected way? For example, using a bag of holding to catch a sphere of annihilation, which is a reference to something I've done in a game once.
In an unexpected way this is one time in a one-shot I was running of Be Gay Do Crime. We had a rainbow elemental. So it was like literally, it had like a prismatic wand that it was like shining a light through a prismatic wand, and then the rainbow it produced was like the elemental, right? So the magic item was like the wand that was making this kind of construct. And my players had a wand of wonder. They were very low level, but I gave them a wand of wonder because, live a little, give them a wand of wonder, see what happens.
It's always fun to give your players way too powerful items than they deserve just to see what they do with it.
I love that. I'm like, hey, level 2, here's a deck of many things, live a little.
I've given my players like a bean that if they ate it, it casts wish, and they just get wish. But then after the guy ate it, I was just listening real carefully for any time that in character he said, man, I wish blah 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 blah, and then I was like, bam.
I love that.
It's great.
So they had this wand of wonder, and they like point it, roll, and they cast darkness on this being made of light. And we had this moment where like, is it even matte? And it wasn't matte. It was just made of literal light.
Yeah.
So they one-shotted my big bad with magical darkness.
Jeez, it's clever. That's very clever.
It was great, and they were like, I don't know, I was just hoping it would do something cool. And I was like, did you just hold up?
Wait a minute. Flip notes. But I can get back from this.
Yeah, me making silly little homebrews and then realizing, like, and I'm like, it doesn't work on magical. I'm like, wait, is it magical light though? No,
it's just light. Because the magic comes from the wand. The light is just the light.
And then the wand was a crystal, so it freaking shattered when it dropped to the ground because it didn't have the construction. I was like,
nice.
Shit.
Nice. That's so good. I will ask you a D&D question on behalf of my editor. I usually take these, I top and tail them, and I take out a short rest, a shot for YouTube Shorts and the short programs, because that's the only way to get all of these fucking social platforms these days, is to like make one piece of content and then chop it up for all of them. So give me in 20 to 60 seconds. Give me, let's say, what's the question going to be? Why should people be using more mushroom-based monsters in their D&D games?
One of the biggest challenges in working with such a long existing IP is that the meta awareness of people know about our world and they also know about the world of Dungeons and Dragons. Introducing something like fungus into that, which is not only poorly understood in D&D, but also poorly understood in our world, is such a fun way to subvert expectations and to create a different atmosphere and to bring back the excitement and uncertainty from seasoned players with something of just tweaking some concepts and learning about different ways that we can play with this space.
Look at this. Professional, everybody. Look at that. Look at this professional doing the job. Wonderful. Thank you very much for that. That was an amazing note to end on. Perfect. So before we get back to our task of running away from AJ with our stolen money, with our heisted money, we should tell the folk where they can find you and all that jazz.
I typed hi in chat so you can see what my username is. Hi, I'm Gnome_Ann here on Twitch. I am Ann the Gnome on TikTok, and I think Gnome Ann on Twitter and Instagram, or Ann the Gnome. I don't know. It depends. Sometimes Gnome Ann's taken, I end up with Ann the Gnome. And then you got to do an Uno reverso to get the pun. Okay?
Yeah, just fine. Just do the thing. You all know how to use internets.
You'll know if it's me because they'll be bright green and talking in a goblin voice more than is appropriate.
Fair enough. Yeah, so if you are here from No Man's Community and this is your first time seeing me, I'm Robert Hartley GM. I'm a full-time Dungeons & Dragons nerd. I make content all over the internet. I'm most well known for being the Dungeon Master for a comedy group called Viva La Dirt League and the writer from D&D Logic series on YouTube as well. But at the same time, I do a whole bunch of stuff. Twitch Tales, and I've got a YouTube short series that outlines the differences between the Baldur's Gate D&D and the tabletop D&D, so that people don't get confused when they go from one to the other.
Can we talk about Moonbeam for a second?
You go right ahead. You tell me about Moonbeam.
When I Moonbeamed that strange ox, and it didn't
change.
Anyway,
yeah, and I was like, but it's clearly.
What's the point of this spell?
Yeah, what's the point of this spell?
If it's not gonna remove shapeshifters.
There's so many things that just make me furious about that game. I'm like, I'm always raging whenever I'm playing it on stream. I'm like, this stupid fucking game, that's not how that works. What is spiritual weapon? Spiritual weapon doesn't have armor class and hit points. I can't accidentally kill my own spiritual weapon with a fireball. That was the whole point. I put the spiritual weapon in the range of the bad guy in the first place. Etc. So if you want to see anything that I do, check me out all over the internet. Robert Hartley GM. I was lucky enough to get the same handle on everything, so you can find me on all the things as long as you know how to type Hartley correctly. Is there anyone online that you'd like to raid? I always like to put it to my guests.
Oh, okay.
We can raid into Winter's Tales. She's still going with her.
Yeah. I mean, it's only fair. We did rob her.
So let's send you guys towards her as a distraction, so that we can get away with our with our ill-gotten heisted goods. All right, we are going to raid into Winter's Tales. She is the Winter's Tales, for anyone who doesn't know, is the first D&D studio in Australia, out of Perth, Western Australia, and is currently celebrating 2 years on Twitch with a huge 48-hour event. With at least 48 different content creators from the D&D world all over the world contributing to it. So they are in the second day of that now. So go and give them the support, get them over the finish line, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye. Hello, YouTube viewer. Have you followed me on Twitch yet? It's free and it lets you know when I'm going live, so you can join in all of the fun as it's happening.